This is a show about stepping out of your comfort zone. It's about leaving the main quest line for a minute to see what you're made of. It's about learning who you are and if you're ready to face your own death. We're setting off on a journey, and we want you to join us. Welcome to Side Quests.
That is right. We are here to have another discussion about our journeys and where we've been this week's Facing Your Death. I am your host, Steven, joined as by other host, Jacob, and joined by other host, the TV's Travis.
Hello.
I like co-host because it makes it sound like one person's in the driver's seat. Other host feels like more of we're like a tripod, you know? Like you kick one leg out, this whole thing falls over.
That's true.
Yeah, but anyway,
that is very true.
We're here to talk about what happened on this quest. If you're new to Side Quest, this is a show where we stretch ourselves a little bit, try and push ourselves outside the comfort zone, doing what you tell us to do. Two choices every single week. You pick which one we do, and we do it. And we invite you to join us along on our adventure and do it with us. Tell us how your experience went. And this week's was definitely about facing your death. Jacob, what does that mean, face your death, in the context of this adventure?
100% of the people are going to die. 100%. And are you ready for it? That's the question. Are you ready for what's going to be left behind? Are you going to be ready for what you're leaving behind? Are you prepared to make that exit in the way that you want to make it? And if you are, man, you're better than I think probably 95% of the people on this earth. If not, then how can you become more comfortable with that fact and start preparing for it? Because the things that you leave behind are going to be left behind to the grieving loved ones around you, and they're going to have to deal with your mess and cleaning it up. And so are you prepared to, do you have things in an order where you're okay with how you would leave them if you were to somehow magically get hit by the bus tomorrow?
Yep. The statistics on death are pretty solid. Every single person who lives will die at some point. Hopefully when we're all old, and hopefully it happens flipping quickly. Just one day you wake up dead. You're healthy as
Also
a horse, then dead is the way I think most of us would prefer to go.
Fast coronary in the middle of the night just knocks me out. I'm good to go.
Yep.
I'm like what was that movie? Grumpy Old Men. That's what they joked about, how they were talking about lucky bastards died in the middle of the night in their sleep. What was that? It was Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's the preferred way I think most of us go. We have no control over that, so we just have to roll with it, with whatever comes. But I think to just get into it, man, let's just dive in. Let's see how we did. Travis, let's start with you. I want to know your feelings, what you tackled, what was important to you, what you learned. Let's go.
So, yeah. I mean, the idea of kind of preparing for the inevitable end hits a little close to home this week for me because I lost my dog 2 weeks ago. So I've just recently dealt with the loss of a loved one, and it wasn't an easy thing for me. But then I kind of started taking stock of like what goes on and my day to days and just sort of everything, and I realized I actually live a pretty simple life, and so it wasn't nearly as much that I had to worry about as I thought. Like, yes, I have possessions, most notably the house, and I have a car loan, but those are easy things to take care of. I think the biggest thing was I live alone, and so I had to make sure that things were set and ready for like my family to take care of. So it'd be my parents and my sister that would take care of whatever was to happen to me right now, which did remind me that my ex is still the beneficiary on my life insurance through work. At some point, I probably should change that. So I kind of started gathering that information. Not that I would have a problem if it did go to her because she would work with my family and everything. Like, there's no animosity there. I just realized I never changed that in the year and a half since, or 2 years since we broke up or whatever. But yeah, it was making sure that we talked about like passwords and things to online presence. That's actually where I have probably the most um, connection with other people is through an online presence, and I want to make sure that that is doesn't fall into the wrong hands or anything like that. And the ability to get into places was there, so bank accounts and mortgage stuff and all of that. And I years ago kind of got into LastPass and a password manager, which made it super super easy because I can just make sure somebody that there is a record of my master password to get into that available. And now that takes care of all that online stuff. People can get into whatever they need to. And then beyond that, it was just kind of thinking about like, well, okay, what would have to be dealt with? I only have one house worth of stuff, most of which has no value to anyone else, so it would just go away. Um, so it was that realization that like I don't really have all that much I have to overly concern myself with. There isn't like a huge estate or a large amount of things that people would be squabbling over or there would be problems with or anything like that. It's like there's a 20-year-old Jeep sitting out in the driveway and a house full of knickknacks and crap that nobody cares about but me. So burn it all down, sell the house, and you're good to go. Was
Those are
pretty
easy
much what I figured
notes.
out. And
Yeah.
what I liked about that was that it fits kind of my philosophy in life, which is to kind of try to live in the moment and be prepared for things, but not dwell too much. Like I have things that are important and nostalgic to me, but I also kind of had that realization like there are a handful of things at most inside this house, which is where all my worldly possessions reside, that if it were to catch fire, I would want to make sure I got out. Um, there is a single book that I own that I would be really bummed if I lost. It's a completed collection of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan
Ooh,
Doyle,
nice.
published in 19 I want to say 32. That was given to me. It's really really great. And then there's a little, you can't quite see it, but there's a little container behind me, and that's Emerald. And I would want to make sure I got him out, even though if the house burned, he's already burned, so it's not that big a deal, but I'd want that. Outside of that, like everything else can burn, and I don't care.
Yeah.
So I'm not super concerned with like what happens to all my things when I pass. Like just get rid of them, give them away, whatever you want. And then I remember too that I'm an organ donor, and I have that on my license. And that was another one of those things where I was like, oh yeah, I remember I checked that box a while back, and I kind of felt good about that because that helps me to just feel better about when I do eventually go. If anything is useful, that somebody will get it. If any parts of me are left useful. I haven't destroyed my liver yet, so that might do somebody some good. I'm in decent health, so if I get hit by a truck tomorrow, good. Somebody get some decently working kidneys.
There you
So
go.
Yeah.
Well, did you
it
find
was
yourself having any conversations with people?
strangely I haven't really, like I did mostly with family, but it really comes down to I've sort of adopted a over the last I would say probably 10 years, kind of the philosophy of like I'm gonna die at some point, and
Yeah.
you're like you said, Stephen, I can't control exactly when it's going to happen, so I don't fear it happening. I don't want it to happen tomorrow, but if that's when my ticket gets punched, then that's when it happens. So I just try to live days to the fullest that I can. And I think that made kind of facing a lot of this a little bit easier for me because I'm not fatalistic about it,
Mhm.
but I'm also realistic about it can happen at any time. I want to make sure people know how I feel about them. I want to make sure that the people that are important to me know that. And I'm just going to live and be the best person that I can be every day. So the conversations were a lot of not there weren't a lot of like difficult conversations surrounding it because my family and the people close to me know that about me. So this was more of a kind of an exploration of like, well, okay, here's a few procedural things, but look, this could happen at any time. And it made the conversation like with my parents fit into that a little bit better because it got them thinking about things a little more because they're further down the road than I am. So their end is probably closer than mine, statistically speaking. Um, and my sister and brother-in-law live with them. So that kind of roped into that conversation of like, well, there's simple things when I'm talking to my parents, like the house. My sister and I have already talked about the fact there's not going to be any argument over stuff. She's like me. She doesn't care about the stuff. So it's like, yeah, you guys get the house because you're there already. You need that. I have my own. Um, we'll talk about and probably flip coins or roll dice for some of the other big ticket items, and then give the rest away. Like, so it was a lot of conversations like that. But because my philosophy is what it is, and my family and friends know that, the conversations never had to get real difficult, which was nice. So yeah, I found it an interesting exercise this past week without being. I was originally, when we first realized that's what won the vote, I was a little worried that it was going to be more difficult than it was. It turned out to not be, because once I actually sat and thought about it, I realized, oh no, I've sort of set myself up for this in a decent way already. So it wasn't all that bad.
That's good. I mean, I'm glad that you found, you kind of looked around and were like, I'm already prepared for the most part. That's probably the best state to be in, is like, I don't have a giant estate to parse out. Which is, I mean, that's a good way to live in general. Um,
Mm.
And I'm with you on the not fatalistic but aware, and what's coming
Yeah.
eventually.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of staring into the void over the past year, which is
Honestly,
I'm not
I
even
think that's
40
some of it.
yet.
I think this past year has brought a lot of that kind of stuff into stark relief, because
Sure.
we've had extra time of sitting around where we can't fill it with the things that we would have prior to
Hmm.
think about some of this. So,
Yeah.
that kind of comes into it too. I do need to, at some point, probably sooner rather than later, do some kind of legal document, some sort of a living will, just so it's written down and so there's no question. And
Yeah.
basically to kind of grease the wheels and make it easier for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that in place. Um,
Well, then you can
but yeah,
take the bias out of it too. Not like you said, you've got a good relationship with
right.
everybody that would be involved, but it takes out the potential for anything, because you've got a non-biased party kind of
Hmm.
delving it out. Like, here's
Yeah.
what it's written in his document. This is what do they call that, probate or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know
Pretty sure that's what it
how
is.
that works, but I'm pretty sure your stuff gets hung up in probate until
Hmm.
they give it to you. They give it to the people that it's written to. And even I've heard from other lawyers that it's real hard to have an ironclad will anyway. People want to fight wills, they fight them, and then it just gets messy.
Well,
But
in worst case scenario, if you do fight a will, most of the time it's not the other party that wins, or the part or you that wins. It's the lawyers that win.
yeah,
They'll
they make
drag
the
it
money.
out for years and take 70% of the money, and the next thing you know, you're left with a few bucks, and you're going, "We were squabbling over $1.5 million, and here we ended up with 30."
$30, not 30 grand, not
Yeah,
300.
Just 30.
Just
I
we are
wonder
talking about
too,
lunch.
want to go to a
I wonder
movie?
how much of that is like the function of the fact that family sizes are so much smaller these days, though. Because you don't
Could be.
hear your average family, you don't hear about a lot of squabbles because it's like two kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the parents go, there's only a couple of people that are involved anyway because it's always direct blood relatives.
I think
yeah,
it depends on what circles you hang out in. I mean,
That's true.
I also know
Yeah.
families who have siblings that just don't get along,
Hmm.
and they find reasons to squabble that aren't a real reason, and this would be a real reason for squabbles. So they would embrace that squabble, very readily, right? So I think it just
Yeah.
depends on the personality of the individuals that are parting or portraying the squabbles.
they
Yeah, that's a
them
good
who
point.
squabble. Yeah, it's if you got
I
a
mean,
healthy
the three of
family.
us, we could sit down in a room and be like, yeah, whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
But I think there are some people who really place a high value in possessions or in their family's possessions. I mean, I know one thing that I want from my dad, just one. That's all. And it has nothing to do with money or anything else. It is one thing that is 100% nostalgic and that it will always remind me of him. There was only one thing I wanted from my grandfather, and I got it. It was a picture of my grandfather. And I got it. It's hanging up on my wall. And to me, those are the kind of things I I look at it and I cherish it and I enjoy it, and I could care less about whatever else he had. And I think everybody's got that I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I do feel like to me it's more about trying to remember the person and not necessarily about the stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could be wrong there.
Well, getting into that, Jacob, let's talk about your adventure. You were very vocal about this not being the most exciting side quest that you were looking to go on.
That's true.
But how did it turn out?
I think like Travis, it was a little bit easier. I've gone through this exercise once before. Maybe not necessarily facing my death, but getting everything prepared from a will perspective and all of that kind of good jazz. So, I had a good foundation, and all my passwords were already in one location. And so, as long as you had that master key, you can get access to a lot of my passwords and all of my accounts. I do a yearly financial status or update right after Christmas anyway, just to look at the year end and project where I'd be at the end of the next year, just because I'm a budgeter, I'm an organizer, and that's just the way I am. So, from that perspective, I feel like the accounts, the life insurance, the tax information, the mortgages, all of that, that was in really good order. So it was really easy for me to pull together really quickly, and so I spent minimal amount of time on that. Um, I did set up a appointment with the attorney to try to update my will because I do have a child now, and I need to let everybody know that Steven and Stephanie get that child if something were to happen to Ashley and I. And so I need to make sure that at least it's understood because I haven't updated it since William's born. So I feel like that's important. Um, and then there were other things that I never took care of before, like um, medical power of attorney and those kinds of things. And I'd like to get kind of shored up a little bit, but overall it's not that big of a deal. I think the lion's share of my week this week was kind of focusing on what I would leave behind as opposed to the kind of the legal stuff or the financial stuff. It's more about the physical material stuff. And when I married into the family that I married into, um, there are people that really place high values on certain material possessions, and it became we needed a place to store them, and we ended up with a basement full of stuff, and now it's become a little bit overwhelming because now that we have children, we want to use the space that we have as opposed to using it as self storage. And so that weighed on me a lot, is what would happen to all of our stuff if something were to happen to us tomorrow. And and the sad thing is that some of it's ours and some of it's not ours. And I think it's going to prompt a lot of really hard conversations because there are people hold on to their stuff, especially people that grew up in a place or an area where they didn't have much. And so now all of a sudden they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is important. This bottle of 2 liter bottle, plastic Coke bottle is important because you can save nails in it. Um, that's,
You
I don't
can
place
though.
value,
You
but you
can.
can. And maybe I don't place value in that, but somebody does. And so, at some point you've got to draw a line. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a ridiculously crazy line. I mean, obviously we don't have a whole bunch of Coke bottles laying around, but um, I think that kind of gives you a perspective of what I've been through. It's more about the material stuff, and every day we're bringing stuff in because William is growing like a weed, and so every day there are more and more things. Whether it's relatives that buy him things, or whether it's grandma and grandpa that buy him things, or whether it's us that buy him things, there's just tons of stuff because he's learning so quickly and he's going through these new experiences so quickly that we have to keep his mind just always engaged. And
Mm-hmm.
so it requires just constant turnover of new stuff. And so you've got all this stuff coming in. I hope that you have enough stuff going out. And so it forced me to reevaluate more of the material things and trying to figure out, do I really need 3 vacuum sealers, 2 of which are in a box that's never been opened, that's still straight from the store? No, I don't. And I don't think anybody's ever going to use them. I mean,
I didn't know you had one, or I'd have taken it from you because I just bought one.
yeah, I have 3 brand new ones.
Should
They're
have
all
called
like the
you
good
first.
stuff. It's the food savers. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not
Oh, yeah.
expensive. They're not cheap. But they're $100, $200 a piece. And I got all the bags and 2 brand new ones and one that I actually use. And
I need to go shopping over at your house before I do things.
Yeah, no
What
doubt.
you got over there? I'll give you $10.
I've
Go
got-
pick through the basement and find some good stuff.
No
I
kidding.
was telling Steven, in my garage, I have probably no less than 10 cast iron pots and probably 5 or 10 cast iron pans. And some of them are like the really expensive ones, the enamel crusted one, the enamel coated ones. I mean, I've got tons of those. And it's not, a lot of this was just inherited from moves and tear downs from other people. And so I'm like, what are we going to do with this stuff? Let's get rid of it. Come on. Rock and roll, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really what weighed on my mind a lot more than financial stuff or the documentation stuff. Yeah, I need to update it, and I made an appointment to update it. So in the next month, all of my documentation will be updated. So I've got a meeting with the attorney to get all that taken care of. So that was the easy part. The hard part's just going to be, continuing to slowly winnow down what I have.
Yeah. That's good though. That I kind of hate that you've got that one big highlight that just occupied the majority of your mind. But it's also good, I think, to think about it because you're right. You're not going to be here to help lift the heavy stuff that's sitting in the way. You're going to need friends who are hopefully still able-bodied when you kick the bucket to do it.
Right.
Like, I mean, a lot of what we're thinking of is if you were to like get hit by a bus in a week. I'm hoping that you bury me and then you immediately die and fall in the hole right with me, so that I don't
Tater
have
and
to.
D-Way are going out together.
Yeah,
We're gonna
I
be like Thelma and Louise off the cliff, baby.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a moment in heaven without Tater that I don't have to. That's what's important to know here. But yeah, I mean that sounds like it's a good place to put your time and effort. Do you have a plan of execution now? When it comes to that stuff, now you've put some thought into it. I mean, I know you've got a plan, but like, did you get any further with any ideas there?
I did. The biggest issue that I have is that a lot of the stuff doesn't belong to me, so it's convincing others that it's time to pare down.
Yeah.
And that's a little more difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's more about the conversations over the next couple of months to say, look, if we're not planning on using this, then eBay it, baby.
Yeah.
Let's throw some Craigslist furniture up there. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. I mean, we've got 4 desks in the house right now, and they're not the little cheap desks. These are the hardcore wooden, claw leg. I mean, just beautiful desks, well-made desks. And I'm like, these are gorgeous under normal circumstances. I would love to have each and every one of these.
Yeah.
I don't need 4.
One of them a Resolute desk copy,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess I am pretty lucky in that I never, even my parents, like from either of their sides of the family, like it never was a thing where just stuff got inherited and ended up at somebody's house. Like it was always a conscious choice. My parents have they got a pool table from my step grandfather, but that was a choice. My dad wanted it. It was offered to my parents. They're like, yeah, we'll take that. Sure, we can use that. Well, it was never one of those where, because I would be the worst person for that. Because if it got to a point where I had all this stuff, I'd be calling people up like, all right, your stuff is here. You have 30 days.
I'm gonna throw it
with
away.
which to decide, or it's going out by the curb with a sign that says free, and I will just slowly leach things out. Like it's gonna be gone. It's the question is, do you want to do it or am I?
Yeah,
That's right.
make a decision.
But overall, I will tell you this: I didn't want to spend the week this way. I would have much rather spent the week with my iPad, my Apple Pencil, and just doodling and drawing and enjoying my evenings. Um, so I will throw it back on the listeners and say, oh,
You did
but
this to us.
You did it.
but I will say I'm glad that I went ahead and took care of it because it forced me to do a couple of things like the attorney thing, and it forced me to start coming up with a slightly better plan of attack on some of the material possessions. So yeah, I mean I'm glad that I did it. Um, you know, it's a bit overwhelming because you're like, oh God, I got so much to do here.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you got through it one way or another, and that it did prove to be somewhat fruitful, which I think is the goal, right? Like some of these, I know it's on the list. Like I dread some of them, and I don't want to do them. But when we do them, you walk up and you're like, I didn't die for one thing, and I made something of myself. Which is, I mean, that's human growth. So we're doing good.
Yeah. And the most important thing is that everybody knows that Tater Tot goes to Dwayne if something were to happen to me.
I will do my very best. I will raise him as my own, for better or worse. He'll be fine. I'll take.
Oh, yeah.
He'll
It'll be great.
He's gonna turn out just fine. No, that's good. That's good. That's good stuff. So for
I hope I didn't surprise anybody with that.
yeah, totally.
You and I have talked about it in the past, but
No, I'm not. Where do you
I
think
just
Sam
haven't
is gonna go?
Yeah, I mean,
You know, like I don't know. The two people closest to my age that are most closely related that have themselves together. There's a very limited margin of that, you know, that would fit into. But like for me, this was kind of I've never done anything like this. Like I've thought about it. I've kind of had the memento mori kind of thing in my head for a while. Like, remember you're going to die, live life to the fullest, whatever. But remember you're going to die, and remember that other people are going to continue living. Is the other half of that. Like, you
Those
gonna
are two
be
different
dead.
things.
Yeah, it's like the legendary philosopher Keanu Reeves once said: "Those who miss it, those who love us, will miss us." You know. That's what's going to happen, and people are going to be sad, and there's going to be stress. So, like, one of my goals when I set out to try to write things down, which is mainly what I was after, is stress reducer. What can I write down that my wife can hold, or if she's still a mess, Jacob can hold and read through and go, okay, here's where all the stuff is. Here's where, I mean, primarily it was all the banking stuff. Like, we talked about a little bit last week that like I do most of that just because I'm the one sitting at a computer most of the time, and I've been doing it since I got out of left my parents' house. I've been doing taxes and stuff, so I just do it. But I want to make sure, like, I wrote down, here's the TurboTax login. It's gonna populate everything, and you can just click buttons and do your taxes. And I mean, Jacob, you can help too if something were to happen to me. But I wrote down like a lot of that kind of stuff, the basics. Here's my, like, this was something I needed to do for a while. I'm glad this pushed me to do it. LastPass has a shared passwords feature, so I have like shared folders that Stephanie and I are both administrators of, and I put all the stuff that I know that she might need if I'm not around into those shared folders, and I checked them with her to go like, here's all the stuff. Like, it's everything. It's the Two Dorks bots. It's Discord. It's all the email addresses. Because to be fair, most of the things that she's going to need access to, she could find information on via my emails. If worse came to worse, you could start doing some archaeology and going through my Gmail accounts that I've had since I've been an adult, and like dig through. I've never deleted anything out of there. So the whole shebang since 2006 is in there. So that was I felt like that was probably an important resource. And I wrote down stuff like, I already told C-Mitch this, but I put his number in my pack because I'm like, the tech stuff, a lot of the weird techie crap, you know, that I've got, the servers that are out in the cloud, like, she gonna need help. And I wrote your number. I told him last night, I wrote your number down because you know this stuff and you know me. And you know, if you need to move a bot, how to do it, or if you need to get files off of a server, you know how to do it. So I was trying to think of like skill-based people that I know that could help. in different areas, and parse that out so it's not like you're depending on one person all the time. Like I wrote down Lando too. I wrote down you, Jacob. Like these are people close by that understand enough of the tech, because that's where most of my stuff is. Like if we're serious about it, I half my life has been spent dumping stuff on the internet. How do I get to that? How do I save it? I wrote
It's interesting
letters.
for you, and I got a question for you here on this
Yeah.
one, because I hate to butt in, but
No.
you've got a lot of stuff from like podcasts, and you got a lot of internet presence, period.
Yeah.
Is that something that you want to live on, or is that something that you want to cull, or at least maybe kind of focus in? I mean, how do you want it? Out of curiosity, I mean, I don't have that kind of tons of internet presence, but I
Yeah.
know you do with all this podcast, all the podcasts, and everything else you do. So I'm curious how you approach that.
I thought about it real hard, and I haven't
Ooh.
landed on what I want to happen to it. Like
Sure.
what I did land on is Stephanie hears all the accounts and the passwords to my Twitter, and to Instagram and Facebook and everything. And I don't necessarily need it to start. Like, I'm not going to have a bot scraping, North Carolina for obituaries, and when it sees my name, go active and start sending tweets. Like that's not. I expect my last tweet.
Please tell me you're going to write that now, because
That'd be
that's
great,
glorious.
wouldn't it? That'd be amazing. Like my last tweet will be my last tweet, and it will stay my last tweet unless. And I've thought about, like, does Stephanie go on my Facebook and be like, this happened? Do people start posting? I mean, sometimes I've had people pass away on Facebook, and I've watched their timeline explode with people memorializing them by posting stuff about them, and it's really heartfelt and always really sweet. And I wouldn't want my Facebook to be like shut down or archived. Not to say I expect everybody to outpour all their love on Facebook for me, but it's a place for me, having been in that position where I wanted to, like, somebody I knew passed away. I was like, I want to let people know how much I cared about them. I went to their Facebook. It was like, I wrote this, for them, just to remember all the good stuff. And it was good for me. It kind of gave me closure in the event, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, like, you mentioned all the podcasting stuff. I'm like, what was weird is I'm thinking about Sam a lot through this, which is the parts that drove me to tears as I'm putting this together. Like, thinking about the notes you need to write at turning 18, turning 16, getting married. Like those, having some letter written, like, open this when you get married, open this when you do this. Which you can't get too obsessive about it, but at the same time, it's like, what if you're not there? That would be a good thing for him to have on hand, or even record a video. This is the 21st century,
Yeah.
I mean, Stephen, I think that would be a good thing to have, even if you were there. I mean, it would be
Sure,
nice
yeah.
to hand him a note as he's going off to college.
Yeah.
And he gets to sit in his dorm room and read it as you're not there, right?
Yeah. Just be like, I did everything I could. Best of luck. Here you go. It's an immense amount of pressure when you think of it in the context of, I can't take any of this back if it's written down and it's handed off. Like, if there's anything I'm like, that sounds stupid, there's no editorializing. You're done. What you put in the paper is what is going to be portrayed, and you just got to hope whatever you meant to say is coming through.
Just don't write it as Dwayne.
No, I didn't. No, don't write it as Dwayne. He don't know what he's talking about. But no, I mean, overall, I really liked writing. I felt like I got a lot of progress on stuff Stephanie needs to know. It got prescriptive there for a minute, like, as I'm writing, because I wrote it kind of freehand and in paragraphs. Like, this is stuff that's going to happen. And like, I write at one paragraph, I'm just like, this is all really prescriptive. Hey, I love you. Because you're reading this, going through it, like, I'm good. It's I'm a person of faith, so I got a lot of that. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'll see you when you get here, kind of attitude. Because that's just the way we live, And in a lot of ways, that faith does bring me a lot of comfort. That I can just be like, it's not the end. It's just, I'll see you later, and that's kind of where I sit in that space. It's gonna happen, but it's gonna, everything's gonna be all right. So my main objective with any of it was just reduce stress. What can I write in here that's going to provide enough context that will get through it. I let her read some of it. It's like, here's the parts that you can read. Like, I don't want you to read these other parts because I'm not dead yet. Where I expose all my dirty secrets. Now I fought villains and I was a superhero. Like, no, don't read that. But yeah, that was probably. I got a lot done. That's what I guess what I'm trying to say. Feel good about it. I want to do the legal stuff too. But I mean, it's a week challenge, and it took me down some roads, that I think we all probably went down. It's tough. It's tough with the kids. With the kids, it's tough because you're in a different headspace. What can I say to them that's gonna matter? Where are my journals at? And the thing about stuff, though, like to get back to that just a little bit, I basically said if Sam wants to play music, he can have my guitars. They're his. If he doesn't want to, find someone at the church that wants to play guitar and can't afford one. Find like that was one of the biggest things was give all this stuff because Stephanie doesn't need any of what I have. She doesn't need the PC. She doesn't need the 2 stupid monitors. She doesn't need all this audio equipment. She doesn't need to think about it. What she needs to do is find someone to just give it to and let them find creative people who can't afford it. Like go to a college or something and be like, where's your audio engineering program? I got all this stuff. Find a way to hand it off. I was like, nobody, you and Sam don't need to think about this stuff. You need to just hand it to someone else and be like, it's expensive junk to you. And treat it that way. Treat it like expensive junk that someone who sees value in it can enjoy. Travis, you want my Stream Deck? You can have my Stream Deck. I'll write that down.
I could use another Stream Deck. That works.
You know what I mean?
No,
just somebody who's going to do it.
Yeah, and it sounds very similar to what I was kind of the same path that I was going on. Where it's like it's a house full of stuff that means something to me right now, and if I'm not around, no one else cares about it. So
yeah.
Whoever wants it, divvy it up, and then just get it to people that can use it.
Sure.
Or will make use of it or something. And that's I get that.
Don't let that guitar sit in a closet because it was mine. Like
right.
F that. I'm not writing that. I'm not using that anymore. I told my parents that I went down to see them in Florida, and my mom brought me out my first red guitar I got when I was 13, and she was like, "Do you want it?" I said, "No, I don't." I'm not going to play. I've got that. Like, that's a way better guitar than the one that's in that closet. And it has, like, scratches all over it. And it says, "Please flush," and a big sticker on it that we took out of a Pizza Hut. Like, it's got memories on it. But I'm like, memories are in here, in my head. They're not on the guitar. They're like, give the guitar to Goodwill, where a kid who can't afford a guitar will be the next Jimi Hendrix using that thing. Like, that's the kind of stuff you want to make possible.
That's how that origin story starts.
Exactly, yeah. Somebody walked in a pawn shop and bought a cheap guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen really is Captain America, by the way, guys.
It's true.
It's not.
It's really true.
The Superman cape's right there. I'm Soups. Jeez.
You're pretending to be Superman.
I know. I'm totally pretending to be Superman. No. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Do you guys want to talk about or do you got questions for each other?
No, there was one other thing that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
One thing I did do was put on my calendar a repeating invite for 1 year from yesterday, which was June 15th. So every June 15th, I have an invite on my calendar to face my death. Not necessarily to go through the same process, but maybe to update anything that needs to be updated. If I need to update a will for a kid or write a note or whatever, if something in my life has changed in the last year, to make sure that I try to capture it. Because I feel like if you're more proactive about this stuff, the less impactful it is all at once.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
It just kicks you in the nuts right away. But
mm-hmm.
I feel like if you spend a few minutes just going, let me call up the attorney. Let me make sure I got that taken care of. Let me add a couple of things to my LastPass or whatever it is that you need to add. I mean, I feel like that might be a good thing. The other thing I did was, by the way, everybody knows that I am married to Ashley. and Ashley is a unique individual, and she has a braid that works completely different than mine. So I have my passwords in a place that only she could ever dream of knowing where it's at. And so if I do pass away and she needs my LastPass master code, she'll know exactly where it's at because her brain works in such a different way. And I'm like, so what do I need to write in here to trigger this thing? And she's like, write this, and of course I'll remember that. And I'm like, that has never mind.
That just doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense to me,
Yeah.
but to her, it was like, of course. Why not write that? That would tell me exactly where it's at. I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. Never mind. Okay, I'll write it.
I plan on just shoving a note like up under the fireplace where you played Red Dead so much and you're digging around in my house. You'd be like, I know where he's hid it. It's under the
I
mantle
know
of the
that.
fireplace. Only Dwayne would think to put it there.
No, it's in the head. It's in the stag's head that's right above the fireplace. You reach in the side and you grab the note and pop it out. It's in the stag's head.
Actually, I really like the idea of putting a yearly reminder in the calendar because you've started the process and getting yourself into that mindset, and now it's going to remind you, oh yeah, let me think about that real quick. Has anything changed in the last year? Yeah, this has changed. All right, take care of that, move on. And it keeps it from completely being out of sight, out of mind, but also not top of mind where you're dwelling on it and it
Yeah.
can become an existential crisis. I really like that. I think I'm going to copy you and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Rock and roll,
It's a good
baby.
idea.
Call
I'm
me
gonna
a
do it.
year
I'm
from
doing it as
now,
well.
and you could be like, "Damn it! Wish you hadn't said that because now I'm thinking."
That's an iterating process,
Well, it's
though.
even-
You iterate over these things.
Mhm.
You only do the big foundational build once, and then you just add on.
Yeah. Plus, you reminded me of, and I didn't even think about it because I got so hung up on other parts of it. The stuff like medical things, like do you want to do not resuscitate, or how much
Yes.
effort do I want people to put into keeping me alive? Quality of life type stuff. You would think what I just had went through with Emerald that would have been top of mind, but I think maybe because I had just done that, I didn't want to face that part of it.
Yeah.
So that's something I do need to think about because that is important.
Oh yeah,
I don't
and
I don't want to be in an iron lung or you know living on a breathing apparatus for too long.
DMX just went through that a
Hmm.
month
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
and he was brain dead for 15, 20 days. He was living on life support, and nobody could pull the plug, and he didn't have a DNR, and so
Yeah.
he just. I don't know if I. Don't put me in that position.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
like that's the thing.
No.
Like don't make anybody have to decide that for you. Like decide it for yourself and then it's just the hospital executing the plan. You know.
Yeah.
This guy's dead. And everybody's like, "No, he's not dead." You'd be like, "On this paper it says if we think he's dead, pull the plug." And like, I've been talked about with Stephanie numerous times like, "Look, if I can't talk, I don't know what life is worth living." Do you know I'm like a horse, but my speaking makes my heart beat. If I can't do it, I will not be okay. Like I'll be trapped in your own head like that. Gross. No. I've seen that
especially-
Metallica video. I don't want it.
I watched that happen with my one of my grandparents. My step grandfather on my dad's side had a massive stroke and lost the ability to communicate. He could speak, but there was what was in his head and what came out of his mouth were two completely
Yeah.
different things. And watching that, and he was a man who he had a buttery smooth voice. He could talk your ear off. I can so my paternal grandfather died when I was about 7 or 8 years old, I think maybe six, and he came along not that long afterwards and was with my grandmother until just a few years ago. And in all that time, and I spent a lot of time with them. We rode around in the car a lot. The radio was never on in that car ever because he was singing all the time,
Oh
just
man.
whatever tune was in his head. So to watch him go through that was just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
because you could see that the realization on his face was like, I know what I'm trying to tell you, and I can't. And so, having seen that, like, I don't ever want to go through that because I'm like you, I talk a lot
Yeah, yeah,
and
you
at length. And if suddenly I'm trying to tell somebody something and all that's coming out are either gibberish noises or just the wrong words, like, sorry, but that's no way for me to live.
Yeah.
Especially if I lost the coordination or the ability to write too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. You lose all of it. And there's like there's something too to be said about not wanting people to have that thing as the thing they remember you for, because it's just like walking out of a movie. Everybody remembers the ending. How the ending make you feel is how you felt about the whole thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, watching my grandfather pass away in the hospital, like, sucked butts. And it takes effort to remember more than that. That
Mhm.
person. And like, I don't want people to have to just be like, it's just so hard to watch him fall apart. I'm like, F it then. Like, don't watch me fall apart. Just let's go. Let's roll. Let the chariot
I mean,
swing down, baby. I'm
yeah, and
done.
and I have a dark sense of humor anyway, so I've constantly told my mom for many many years, look, I'm not putting you in a nursing home. I'm taking care of that with a pillow. Like, we're
We're doing
I
this
can't
at home.
afford that. We'll take it'll be fine. You won't feel anything. Thankfully,
Yeah.
she gets my sense of humor. That was a
Yeah.
great one when she actually did have a stroke though,
Yeah, I bet.
because she had a minor stroke. So when I finally got to the hospital, I couldn't help myself. I walked in. I'm like, thanks for taking all my humor away. Like, I can't make these jokes now. I got like a 6-month moratorium on this. But
It's yeah. We could definitely go down this rabbit hole in a myriad of different ways from experiences of things we've watched, and honestly, I think that back in the 1800s when we all just died of weird stuff at 50, we were just better. We were better at dealing with this. Like, you didn't have to think about it so darn hard. Now we're like, well, do you want to live longer or would you rather not? It's like, that used to not be a choice. I asked my grandma
that's
once. I was
true.
like, what did they do before all this spent? She's like, we just died. And I was like, oh, okay. She was so cool, man. We just died. You're right,
I
Grandma.
mean, it's not wrong.
Yeah,
It's very
there's
accurate.
something to be said about just going, you know? But, here I am at, 36 and relatively healthy saying this. I don't know if I'd be saying the same thing at 95. But we'll see. Maybe.
True.
Yeah, my grandma was pretty good with it. She was like, ah. But anyway, we did get an email we're gonna keep anonymous about a journey that this person went through. Travis, do you want to read the email feedback?
Sure. This is from Anonymous, and it goes a little something like this. I voted against this one so very hard. I didn't know if this was something I was ready for, because this isn't the first time I've thought about how to make things easier for people after I was gone. But the last time I was actually concerned those plans might be needed. I was worried that doing it again would be triggering, and I suppose it was a little, especially with a birthday ending in a zero on the horizon.
Mm.
But I think coming at it again in a clearer headspace was good for me. I put all the important information into one place: account info, pet medical records, important paperwork. And I tapped a few close friends to handle some of the auxiliary stuff. People who are like family, but who would be outside of the immediate radius of dealing with everything. That's I want to come back to that because that's really smart.
Mm.
I have one who has access to my social media accounts, and another who knows what to do with my hobby supplies, that sort of thing. A bunch of the more unimportant things that would just be one more thing for my family to have to deal with. I took care of about as much as I could handle, and I guess in a way it was sort of cathartic, knowing that these few things I'd taken care of were out of the way and dealt with for now. That's a really pragmatic and really smart way to go about things, which is like, okay, here's the stuff that the grieving immediate family members are not going to want to deal with, but it does need to be taken care of. And here are people who, I mean, they're still going to be grieving, they're going to be missing you when you're gone, but they're also enough removed that they can take on that responsibility without it being the super heavy burden that it could be to somebody else. That's really smart.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so too.
Yeah,
so
it,
good
it
work.
yeah, that was really cool. I think that's kind of what I was trying to achieve with tagging like friends like C Mitch on there and Lando is like, here's stuff you're not gonna know what to do with, but somebody will, and wonderful friends who might find a way to start laughing at it sooner than you will. Like if like
Yes.
they would be in a room. Remember when Steven bought this stupid thing, and then you laugh till you cry, and then you laugh again. Which I think is my goal. Is look, I'm fine. I'm not there anymore. Like, do your best to try to have some fun. That would make me the happiest. But yeah, in addition to having the anonymous email, we also had some Discord chatter. Og chimed in, said he's got his life insurance, will, things to cover the kids, passwords, plans for kids, but does want to write, the letters because of the conversation we had about things you wanted to say to people, post death. That I thought was pretty cool. I got a little bit of Facebook feedback. I posted this on Facebook. Somebody posted that they had all their stuff collected in their personal Bible that they keep. Everything's just tucked in the back there. And if that's how you identify, that's where your life is in there. That's awesome. That's an easy place for people to go. There's a lot of families. This is a very Southern thing. It's like from the family Bible holding families, like, a 6-inch tome. You're like, look, they make Bibles this thin. What did they need these for? But that's where you put the family tree. That's where you put everything. You slide it into the pages there. So I thought that was interesting. Do y'all have any experience? I know we've been talking about this forever, but do y'all have any experience with anyone who left enough information that you knew what to do, like in your own life? And you don't have to
Not
answer
directly. Like the closest I got was when my grandmother passed a few years ago, but that was my dad and his brothers and his brother and sister that dealt with all of that. None of the grandkids had to. We all got together to go through some things and sort of sort a few things out and kind of take stock of what was there. But the parents kind of took care of all the rest of it. So I don't really in a direct manner. No.
Yeah.
And I have two different experiences that I can leverage here. I've got one that had given everything away before they had passed. They were like, we want you to have it before we leave. We know we're in our 90s. We are on our way out the door. Here is what we want you to have. We want you to remember us, rather than trying to sort it all out after they passed. That actually worked fantastic because nobody questioned it. Nobody complained about it. Nobody had any squabbles. There was no discussion about it. It was exactly what their wishes were. And if you got what you wanted, then great. And that's one of the experiences I thought went really well, was that they just went ahead and took care of their possessions before they left. And then they had everything else already transferred over because they had reached a point in their life where power of attorney had kicked in, and so they were all already financially, somebody else was handling all of that. So that to me was ideal because it was a seamless transition. The other experience I have is the complete opposite of that experience, which was nothing was written down, and there were quite a few people that were well interested in the other parties in obtaining what said person had. And because that person had a lot of money and a lot of things, and so it ended up to be 4 or 5 people just fighting bitterly for a decade before it finally resolved. So, to me, I know which I would prefer because it was very clearly evident with those two examples. I think I would like to err on the side of the giving it all away before you go, but. Yeah, that's by my experience. How about you, Steven?
Yeah, I mean, I've only really lost grandparents, and a couple relatives that I wasn't involved in any of the situation, and they still have living spouses, so it's kind of easy to float that stuff over. But I do know my grandma on my dad's side, like they eventually had to move her to a nursing home, so her house full of stuff, and she was a pack rat. Like she had kept everything, not like a hoarder. But like newspaper clippings, my dad's, she still had the notepad my dad wrote on when he had his tonsils taken out when he was like a elementary school kid. His handwriting was atrocious. But yeah, like those kinds of things that were really a joy to look at. But she divvied out everything, and she basically told all the kids, 5 of them, told them, if y'all fight, you're not getting any of it. So this is what's gonna happen, and
Was it like Brewster's Millions?
no, yeah. Here's this fortune. Whichever one of you can spend it and have no assets. No, it was. She wasn't like super. She wasn't rich by any means, but she had a lot of really good stuff. My grandma took care of things. She took good care of things, and she has this table my parents now use as their kitchen table. That was hers, and my dad will lose it if you put a cup on there with no coaster. Like, because Meemaw wouldn't let that happen, because that's what we called her. And Meemaw would not be happy about this. Like, he treats her stuff as if she was still here, caring about it, because he grew up with her caring that deeply about it. And
Right.
I think there's something endearing about it. It's not like messed up or anything. He knows it's a table, but there's something sweet. He's her youngest son, so like he's the baby. So he's like, no. Meemaw wouldn't want you to put that cup on the table without a coaster. And there's other things that he's got that were really special. But like, she divvied all that out before she even went to the nursing home. And she had her handful of things that they furnished and for her, and pictures of her kids. It was always pictures of kids and grandkids, of which, if you can imagine 5 kids, the family tree out from her and my grandfather is just nuts. And one of the things that she gave to me was not a physical item at all. I just asked her one day. I said, "What do you think about when you look at all these kids and grandkids and great grandkids?" She just told me, "I'm so proud of all my children," and that meant the world. Like, that's all I needed. I'm like, you can keep all your stuff. I don't care, Meemaw. We can throw it in the dumpster. That was the best words I ever heard her say. And that's the thing I think about when like you think about what to leave, what to write down and stuff, is I'm proud of you. It's some of those valuable words you can tell any other person, particularly your kids, because it matters. It matters.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Og might have different opinion because he's got a few older kids. yours is still young. Yours is still in
True.
that everything is a proud moment. And
Yeah,
his
yeah,
is
sure.
like, he's probably like, damn it, crack.
That's a good point.
Og, I'm calling you out. I'm sorry.
Calling him out. But hey, if you out there have enjoyed this exercise, didn't get a chance to send us an email, we still want to hear from you. I think it would be pretty great to hear what you have to say. DearSideQuest@gmail.com. You can also voicemail us 231-486-5401, or just join us on the flippin' Discord, twodorks.net/Discord. We can talk about it some more. Next week's challenge. Are you guys ready to close the poll and see what we're gonna do?
Oh,
for
I'm
this
so
week?
excited. I already
Yeah,
looked at the poll
yeah.
results, and it's unanimous.
It's pretty. It's pretty darn close to unanimous. Bing. We're gonna draw something and share it every day for 7 days. Starting tomorrow, it is your job to draw something. If you don't have a digital drawing pad, you're going to draw it. You're going to take a picture of it. You're going to post it in Discord. You're going to take a picture of it. You're going to post it on Instagram. You take a picture of it. You're going to post it on Twitter. You're going to let us know in some way on your preferred method, even if you want to take pictures and email them to us. DearSideQuest@gmail.com. This is how you're going to get credit. And we want to share these on the next show in an album of some type that we can put out there.
Can
We need a
have
hashtag for it.
tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just
That-
gonna
yeah,
say
I
we
was
need a
thinking about it
hashtag
too.
of some kind to kind of denote these that we can do and put on like Twitter or Instagram or whatever. I'm just trying to think of something.
Hashtag Two Dorks Draws.
There you go. All right, perfect.
Boom.
Hashtag Two Dorks Draws.
Yep.
With an S
Oh.
at the end, draws.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like a verb. Right? Does that
Like
sound
it.
good?
Yeah, that's good. I like it. Two
It's
Dorks
short,
Draws.
sweet.
And
It's
I
to the point.
promise I won't just do 7 stick figures and put those up. Like I'm
got an
I'm gonna
idea
try
for-
this.
I got an idea for next show.
Okay.
All
we
right.
take our 8 favorite, and we
Mhm.
take it into next show, and we go. Let's have a
Ooh.
everybody votes to see what the best drawing is, and it's everybody, all the drawings that we get, and we
Yes.
just choose our 8 favorite and have a selection next week of which one actually wins, and then
I
that
like
could,
it.
I don't
I
know,
like it.
be something we can make that into a sticker. Or I don't know, something. We'll do something fun with it.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
I
cool.
wish
And
Oddly Normal one was here so he could know that this challenge was going to be a thing. But it can't be 8 Oddly Normal one pictures.
no,
Because he's too good. He's
no,
a
because
professional.
he's got the unfair advantage there.
Yeah.
How
I'll
about
make
this?
sure that
Oddly
he
can
knows
make
about it.
Okay.
Oddly can have one in the finals. The other 7 has to come from anyone other than Oddly.
Yeah, because he's a
That
pro.
I think that's fair.
That seems
Yeah.
fair.
The
He'll be
pro
okay
gets
with that.
one entry. So make it the right one. Make it count, Oddly.
Yeah. I really like how this wound up too, because it was like really we had a really fun challenge with the cooking, a really heavy challenge with this, and now we're having a really fun challenge with drawing stuff. So we're getting some levity back into it and just doing something stupid fun. If you don't think you're talented enough to draw, I promise you are, and just give it a go with the best
Yeah, I mean
effort.
this is going to be for me the most challenging so far is the drawing. Not because I can't draw, because I can't, but it's the mentally wrapping my head around like, okay, I'm like I'm going to try and find prompts to do and
Mhm.
prompt myself to draw something every day, and then it's the sharing it and it's putting that out there.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be putting it on Twitter, on Instagram, on I guess Facebook will get it from Instagram. I'm just going to go into the Discord, probably multiple Discords. Um, so you
Do
know,
we want to have a prompt
this
every day? A random noun generator that automatically pops something into Discord and people can use it, or they don't have to?
I think there's enough prompty sites out there that if they want one, they can find one. Like I think Inktober does one every month now.
oh
Like you
well,
just
Amy is saying she made a prompt generator,
oh well, even better.
and she's
Oh,
going to put that in
hey,
Discord. So there we
Amy gets
go.
points. That's perfect.
All
double
right,
points.
Yeah,
I'm so excited about this one. This one's going to be
I
so
am
much
too.
fun.
yeah.
The getting back into because I used to draw when I was a kid a lot. I would my thing was and I sort of got this from my dad, but I would pull out a comic book or pull out like Nintendo Power, and I would
Oh
find
gosh.
a piece of art in that, and I would redraw it. And one of my big ones were Mega Man robots. I
Oh,
loved
nice.
anytime Mega Man was in a Nintendo Power, I had that issue, and I would redraw all the robots. Like that was a thing that my friends and I did when we were kids too, was come up with our own.
Yeah.
Which is why I still to this day think that somebody stole my idea for Drill Man. But anyway, um, but I'm looking forward to this because it's something that I've been wanting to get back into, and I have I purchased Procreate on my iPad. It's $10, and I've
Yeah,
played around
Yeah,
with that and I've messed around with it, and it's fantastic.
so good.
I
Uh,
absolutely love it. It's the same thing I
I
use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love it for drawing and for coloring. Bad Carrot Studios was doing her Carrot Crew, and when she drew a character for me of a Viking cook and his little dragon sous chef, I asked her if I could get like a good sized PNG of it so I could color it in, and I had a blast doing
Oh
that. Like that was
man.
so much fun. So I colored
Oh,
that
yeah.
in, and like in getting to learn the different parts of uh, Procreate. Like I love watching Bad Carrot. I love watching Len Peralta on
Yeah.
stream, has been streaming his art lately, or Scott Johnson when he jumps on. He was doing Rock Runners, his card game, like
Yeah.
doing up art for that recently. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun for the next 7 days.
See, what I'm looking forward to most about this for me is just taking something that may not be exactly what the prompt is, but turning it into something else.
Hmm.
And I feel like I don't my work, it's so in the weeds and so technical based that I don't get a chance to express a lot of my creativity as much as I used to. And that I think is what I'm more looking forward to than anything, is that 15 minutes at night going, you know something? I'm going to draw a bottle of hot sauce that has, big huge muscle man coming out of
I
it.
got stickers of that if anybody needs them.
That's right. That's right.
I'm
But
with you on that.
that's what I think I'm looking forward to most, is just kind of taking a step back, getting a little creative. I promise you, I'm going to spend 15 minutes on most of these, so they're not going to be great drawings. They're going to be more good sketches, I think.
Mhm.
and fun ideas. But I think that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have been making it an effort in the last year or two um, to really try to stretch my creative muscles again because I went through such a long period of creative stagnation after I stopped doing the sketch comedy show and that the not a falling out, but just sort of the parting of the ways of those guys and the people that worked on that. And it got into a lot of just same type of thing, a lot of technical and analytical things and work and all of that. And I didn't do creative stuff anymore. So I've been trying, and drawing is one of those things I think that can do that. And even if the drawing isn't that good, maybe it sparks something else to get me to write some different things or vice versa. So that's why I'm looking forward to this so much, is just flexing creative muscles again.
Yeah.
That's why I got started doing the painting.
Yeah.
The painting of the minis is a lot of fun for that because I don't have to make it out of whole cloth. I have something, and then I can get creative with what putting my part on that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm just excited that when I was a kid, I wanted to be a cartoonist, and I can't draw as well as many people, but I'm a doodler. You know, like I enjoy doodling. My claim to fame lately has been anthropomorphized food, which has always been like I'm gonna draw the banana or the piece of toast or the bacon, or I drew a baseball bat with barbed wire on it once. Said let's have fun or something, and it's
Oh,
just
Steven,
I
I've got
love
a
it.
good one for you.
is they're all
Let's see
so
if I can find it.
stupid. And I look back, like as we were going through or thinking about the challenges, looking back at old art through pictures, and I've got like all these post-it note drawings or work of just stupid stuff. Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
My
The
T-Rex.
T-Rex. See,
You
Jacob's
know,
deceptive. He's really good at this. We almost need to make sure he only gets one entry too, because it's kind of insane.
I love stuff like that. Ali Spagnola is great
Oh
with the
gosh, yeah,
little quick art, and granted, she's got stupid amounts of talent, but she's also worked at it for a long time and really honed that
yeah.
skill. Um, it
It's a
helps when she
style.
was. It's a style, and I think she was doing a thing for a while there where she was doing. I want to say they were like a 1 foot by 1 foot canvas, and she was painting one every day,
Yeah,
painting them,
Wow.
and doing
yeah.
doing a piece of art every day, and then just giving them away.
But if you look at her style, it's very simple for what it is. Like it's a
Hmm.
one color like background almost and very thick
Yeah.
black outlined characters. But not taking away from the talent of it, she just figured out a way to make a very stylized, very efficient painting that people would want, which is kind of the
Yeah.
trick. Like it's like I'm drawing it in such a way that I know I can reproduce it easily and I won't have to think about it a lot because I think she did an emoji project where it was like I'm gonna paint the
Hmm.
same, basically the same painting with different colors, but I'm painting emoji on it, and it was like a whole bunch of different emoji. And yeah, technique matters and how it was done matters, but she could replicate it easily and
Well, and
quickly.
two, if you have a simplified technique to build off of, and you're a creative thinker, now you can
Yeah.
take that and go in so many different ways. I mean, you look at the art that people make in stuff like Minecraft or
Oh, geez.
some of the
Yeah.
pixel art that you see out there. Pixel art is not an intricate style of art, but you can get so creative with it within the confines of that. I just watched a thing recently on Mario Paint and sort
Yeah.
of the history of
That
it.
was a
And
fun
one of the
game.
things that it was, and one of the things that a couple of the artists they were interviewing for this little mini doc said was like the limitations of what Mario Paint could do were very freeing because you didn't have to think about certain parts of it, and you could get creative within that space, whether it was the music maker or the way that the drawing part of it could do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm digging this. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for this.
Yeah.
I've
I'm
also
pumped.
been really excited with the our turn money into more money challenge that we're
Yeah, let's
and
do a
week
quick update on
finishing up
that
week
before
2.
we jump out. How so Travis, you started doing your painting, creating and painting minis for a fee, right?
Yes.
How's
So
that
so what
going?
I'm it's gained much more traction than I thought it would. What I'm doing is I am letting people get a hold of me. We'll talk about it. We'll devise what you want for your mini, and then I can use a creation service, um, build that mini. I then can print it out for you and paint it. And so far, I have confirmed. I think 8 or 9 of them so far
Oh my
that I know for
gosh.
sure I'm doing. Um, and at least a couple more that are probables. They're
Yeah.
not definite, but I know of 8 for sure that are happening.
Nice.
So yeah, and again, it's fun because some of them are like one person came to me and just said, "Here is what I want," and he went to Hero Forge, which is the main one that I've been using to build them on.
Yeah.
Um, he went on there, he built a thing, he took a screenshot of it, and he sent it to me. He said, "This is what I want it to be, and here's the rough color scheme that I want for it." I was like, "Cool, that one's done." Another person was like, sent me a sketch that they found of a rough idea, and we're like, "See what you can build based off of this." So I get to play around with that a little bit. Another person was like, "Have fun, go wild, just
Yeah.
make me something. I don't care what it is." And I just got word back from that person today that they love the idea that I came up with.
That's
So
awesome, man.
I'm having fun with it, and I get to play with my new printer, and I get to paint all these things, which is great because it gets me into the mindset of like, okay, how kind of what we were talking about. How can I simplify the painting uh, aspect of it, but still make it look good and make it look creative?
Yeah. How can I
So
Henry Ford myself into
yeah,
into
in
an
a way
operation?
where I yeah, I just streamline it, I think is
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
getting the painting streamlined to where it's like, no, I don't need to worry. Like I can paint these things quickly and still look really, really good.
Yeah. The old
So yeah,
Kaizen method,
and
remove any
I
trouble.
was really surprised with the response that I got for this. I threw it on a couple of different Discords and Facebook, and it got a bigger response than I was expecting. When I've still got plenty of time to kind of keep going on it. So you guys
Yeah.
are in trouble. Is all
Yeah,
I'm
it
saying.
sounds like I'm in
Oh.
trouble because Jacob's already foreshadowed what he's doing. Jacob, what tell the people what you came up with.
Oh yeah, I mean I've got cash in hand, guys. I don't know about
Butthole.
y'all, but I got cash in hand. Y'all got commissions and all this stuff. No. I'm straight up working on cash. I made a couple gallons of barbecue sauce, parsed them out into pint-sized jars, brought 12 of them to work, and all 12 of them sold within the first 3 days. I got
That's
$5 a pop. Now I'm turning that
Nice.
into London broil, and I'm making beef jerky next week.
Ooh.
You see, you're doing like you're trading up with yourself. You're like, I'm
I'm
gonna spend the $20 to get enough to make $40. I'm gonna spend $40 to make $80.
Yep.
That's pretty clever.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing in a little ways because
Yeah,
I did
sure.
invest the 20 into a
Yeah.
part of it. I know I'm going to have to spend more for
Yeah.
the way that I'm doing things, but that initial 20 got me a lot further than I thought it would.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
like
I
it.
hold in my hand one $20 bill that I still haven't spent. But some of it's gonna go to Jacob's barbecue sauce, and some
Oh,
of
it
it's
is.
gonna
I've
go to
still got a
Travis.
little bit left. I saved just for you, Steven.
Yeah, no, I beta tested one idea of making custom stickers. I suck at that, so I decided not to do that. I did draw the turtle with the mouse on it riding into battle, and it sucked. Stupid. Nobody would buy that. So I decided I might pivot, and so far the running plan, 2 weeks into this, I'm still just planning, is vinyl stickers, custom vinyl stickers, so I can cut custom vinyl stickers for people to slap on their car or their laptop or whatever, of whatever shape you want. It's important to keep in mind that if the outline isn't strong, the shape could come out not as good. And then trying to decide on a good price where I'm not making no money, but I'm also not
Mhm.
overcharging for vinyl stickers. So that's the trick. But it came from an idea Stephanie had. She's put vinyl stickers on Sam's wall because Sam has a cityscape that she painted, like a bunch of buildings, and she stuck like Space Invaders up there because she's transforming his room into like video game themed. So we put a bunch of Space Invader stickers. I was like, those Space Invader stickers look legit. Like, I want to put one of those on the car. That's awesome. So I was like, I could sell a Space Invader sticker. And like she's got like Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter doing a Hadouken in the corner. Like, they're real
Nice.
cool. And I was like, I would pay for that. And she just took the image and made a sticker out of it. So I might give that a go and see if it takes off on the Facebook. I need to make some samples to put out and be like, stuff like this, X amount of dollars, help me make money for charity. Um,
Well,
so we're
right
gonna
now
try.
I've got about $45, $50 for charity.
All right.
So I don't know where y'all are at, but I've got about 45
Oh,
or
let's
50.
see.
And I've got
I
probably about $20 worth of beef jerky I've got to make. So I have a feeling, yeah, you guys are going to be in trouble by the end of this. We still have 7 more weeks.
We do. We have time. I'm a procrastinator, and I'm trying to not do that.
So I can say I don't have any money in hand right now, but I've promised these people want what I have, and it's just a question of me finishing it and delivering it. Um, if I take out how much I have to invest, so a net profit, I am currently 1, 2, 3, 4,
Live math on side quests.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $250.
Oh,
I think
I got some
right around
work
there.
to do.
Yeah, sounds like that beef jerky better be delicious.
In that
I'm going to
range.
call Og. Hey, Og, how much jerky you want? I'll send you beef jerky. Where's Zafo? Zafo, where you at? I need to send you beef jerky.
Jacob, I got an idea. I'm shooting myself in the foot, but I got an idea for you to beat Travis. Just take a jar and sit it next to the beef jerky at work and be like, additional charity donations. Kaboosh. And then they'll buy the beef jerky and they'll drop money in there because they can't help it. Seed it with money, though. Don't leave it empty. Put a dollar in there.
Oh yeah,
That way people feel
Yeah, you
compelled.
always do that.
cash. I've got some seed cash. The biggest question I have is what charity I'm choosing because I have to let people know
Sure.
what charity I'm going to be choosing whenever I do this. Before I was just like, here, I need a couple of bucks. I'm going to donate to charity for the barbecue sauce, and they were like, sure, here's $5.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to do that, then I'm gonna want some charity goodies, or
Let's
at least
swing
to
around.
let folks know.
Let's try to each of us at the very least decide the charity we'd like to support and announce it next week's show. How's that sound?
Yeah,
That was actually my hope was to have that nailed down by next week.
Yeah.
For
and I'm
me.
almost positive I'd probably do St. Baldrick's because to me,
that's
I
your
feel like
jam.
That's my
That's a
jam.
good one.
It's always been my jam, and I'm going to keep on jamming it.
You jam that.
Oh,
St.
that's cheating.
What-
That's totally cheating. So sell jerky outside the
Oh.
pot dispensary. It's
That
like
is
the
true.
Girl
Colorado.
Scouts that were selling cookies outside the dispensary.
Do I have to pay for the plane ticket?
you can use whatever funds you've got available in your charity pool.
Oh, you bud.
This has been this has been a great show though. I'm glad we could catch up on all this, go through some tough stuff, get to the fun stuff, and then the real fun stuff, which is the competition between us three. I could really stand to have more competitive genes, like really. But no, this was fun. Don't forget if you want to be part of the final. So just to let you know, the gift that you'll get at the end is a themed T-shirt. If you complete all of the quests with us, you will get a Side Quest Season 1 themed T-shirt at the end of the season, which is, I think, pretty awesome. And there may be stickers in there, too, and maybe candy, because we always send candy. It's kind of our jam.
We do candy with
We do candy when we do things. So if you're participating, I know Amy and Og have both participated in the challenges so far. So they're on a 2-challenge streak. So keep it up.
I know Kevin and Kelly did as well. Right?
Yeah, they've been doing their cooking. They've been catching up on cooking. So that's really good.
Yep.
So yeah, this next one's going to be fun. Draw stuff every day for 7 days. With that, y'all don't forget to email us dearsidequest@gmail.com. Don't forget to tag your drawings if you put them on social media as hashtag 2dorksdraws. And then email us if you don't do social media, just dearsidequest@gmail.com. Send them to us. We'll get them. It'll be fun. With that, everyone have a great day, great week, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Bye, everybody. Awesome. I forgot I didn't catch it.
That's all right.
Send
That was
to
just
me,
I was just playing that for fun.
Send it.
I threw an Argmatey in there.
Yeah.
I will send that to you if I didn't already. Yeah, no, I was really surprised by